is 105 and 97.5 Glory FM. And welcome once again to the Saturday Morning Sports Show. And hi, everyone. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Sports Show. I'm Mike Wofford, live from the NGPG Sports Center at 97.5 Glory FM. We're going to talk high school, college, and pro sports until 10 o'clock this morning on your home team for North Georgia Sports, 97.5 Glory FM. Well, last night, a lot going on. First off, high school football. A lot of teams had their seasons extend, while a couple of them may have had their season come to an end last night. Also, there's high school basketball with Thanksgiving Day tournament action this week. And also, there's NFL football, college football. Looking forward to wrapping up the regular season in the next couple of weeks. And a lot to talk about this morning here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Hopefully, we'll have Coach Josh Niblet, the head coach of the Gainesville High Red Elephants, joining me by phone as they played last night down in Brunswick. Also, I may be talking with a representative from the Georgia High School Association about an incident that took place in the game last night with Gainesville and Brunswick. And also this morning we'll be talking with Jody Kinney, the statistician and assistant for the North Hall football team. As the Trojans had their season come to a close last night, we will talk about, though, all of the outstanding stats that took place in this year's team and all of the things that really made this a special year for the North Hall football team. We're going to talk college football, a big day of college football today. We'll bring you Georgia State at Troy this afternoon, starting at 3:30 with the Panther pregame show. Kick off the game at 4 p.m. with Dave Cohen and Harper LaBelle. Also talk about the other games going on. Also about a big broadcast we're going to have for you next Friday exclusively here on your home team for North Georgia Sports, 97.5 Glory FM. Also, we'll talk about the Atlanta Falcons a lot more this morning here on 97.5 Glory FM. Let's look at the scoreboard. First off, from last night, history was made down in Houston as Jackson County surprises nationally ranked Milton. Now, the Eagles lost just 2 games during the regular season. That's a big surprise right there as the defending state champions in Class 5A, in fact, Class 5A for the Eagles. They were beaten by Gainesville earlier in the year. Then they lost the last game of the regular season to Roswell. They won their first-round playoff game last week, but then they went to Houston as the Region 8 Quinte champion. Panthers in Jackson County won their first-ever playoff game last week in the 46-year history of Jackson County football. And last night, they defeat Milton 24-19 to advance to the quarterfinal round of the Class 5A state playoffs coming up next Friday night. Also from last night, Jefferson had no problem with Harlem as they defeat that team to advance on to the quarterfinal round of the Class AAA state playoffs. Jefferson is the number 1 seed in the tournament there on the Class AAA side. Beaufort, they had a close one last night as they defeated the Newton Rams out of Covington last night down at Philip Beard Stadium in Beaufort from last night. They advance on to the quarterfinal round of the Class 6A playoffs coming up next week. How about this surprise? West Forsyth, the Wolverines, win their game last night against Hillgrove, and they are advancing to the quarterfinals also of the Class 6A state playoffs. Congratulations to West Forsyth from last night. Here on 97.5 Glory FM, it was North Hall having their season come to a close as they fell to a very strong LaGrange team. The last game North Hall lost was to LaGrange about a year ago there at North Hall in the quarterfinals of the Class AAA state playoffs last year. North Hall went 11-0 going into the game last night. They were trailing 31-28 with about 4 minutes to go in the ball game. And then some turnovers were the difference in the ball game there at the end, as it was LaGrange scoring 3 touchdowns in the last 4 minutes of the game, and they end up winning the game by a final of 52-28, the final of the game last night. Again, we'll be talking with Jody Kinney in a few minutes. The Gainesville game last night with Brunswick, we thought would be a much different game, as Brunswick scored 70 points in their opening round win in the state playoffs against Windabara last week, and then the Windabara coach was dismissed back on Monday after the loss to Brunswick. Gainesville High last night starting out slowly, but then Nigel Newkirk scoring 3 touchdowns in the first half. Gainesville had 21-0 at halftime. And then they scored 2 touchdowns without the offense even getting on the field to start things off in the second half, as they had an opening kickoff of the second half, returned 89 yards for a touchdown, and then they had a pick 6 with an interception return for a touchdown. Elephants lead now 35-0 before the offense even got on the field in the second half. And then with about 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, P.J. Lewis scores the last touchdown of the ball game for Gainesville. and the PAT was good, making it 42-0. But then Brunswick took offense to something that took place the last night, and what we are understanding this morning is that a fight broke out, and it was not just your ordinary fight between two players. The entire Gainesville High team got involved, and the way we understand right now is the team left the sidelines to go onto the field, got involved in this altercation. Coaches, administrators, and even the police from Brunswick and Glenn County got involved in this, and then a decision was made to stop the ball game and not play anymore with less than 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. So with that, the Georgia High School Association is going to have to make a ruling about what will happen with the result of last night's game and what might happen with this upcoming game coming up on Friday in the quarterfinals of the Class 5A state playoffs. The big question, does the win count last night for Gainesville? And also, if it does, will the players that were involved in the fight, will they be affected, and will they be able to play in next week's game? According to what we understand, of course, the rules say what happens is that the players were ejected last night in the game. So if you're ejected, well, that means that you have to sit out the next game. If that happens, Gainesville does not have enough players to play next Friday night, and they would have to forfeit their game, and the team they were going to schedule to be played would go on to the semifinals of the state playoffs. We're going to try to talk with Josh Nibble. He can talk to us about that. There's still some issues that probably he may not be able to speak about. So we'll find out. That's why I'm looking forward to talking to someone from the Georgia High School Association about that. So stay tuned this morning here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Coming up next, we'll talk about the North Hall game from last night with Jody Kinney. Coming up next to the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM.
Georgia after a hot, humid summer. Conditioned Air Systems is here to get your HVAC system ready for the change. With regular maintenance that saves you money on your energy bill, and look no further for quick, reliable plumbing repairs or installation services. Conditioned Air Systems has been a trusted name in Northeast Georgia for over 45 years. Call us today at 1-800-AC-REPAIR.
Injuries are never planned and often happen after hours or over the weekend. That's why NGPG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Beaufort, Houston, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings. And one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/blackandblue.
As an electric cooperative, Jackson EMC must always have an eye on the future, exploring the newest innovations taking place in every area of our business. Ideas that lead to a better use of resources and improved ways of conducting business. Automated switch technology, iPads in the field, and internal networking that enable us to pinpoint outages, access complex mapping, and provide faster response times. Jackson EMC, innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow.
This is Matt Nix, president of Duplicating Products. Our local business has served Northeast Georgia with trusted office equipment and local service support for over 50 years. We're proud to support high school football and proud to help businesses stay up and running with fast personal service. As the region's largest independent Canon, Ricoh, and HP dealer, we offer the industry's best equipment backed by real local people. When your copier or printer goes down, we're there fast. Visit duplicatingproducts.com. We're local and ready to serve you.
And back to the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM. Mike Wofford with you until 10 o'clock this morning. Talking high school sports. I think I just know what happened here. Let's see if we can fix this right here. Did that correct anything? Maybe. And I'll get my producer here, Zach Roach, to help me here because I am not hearing, Zach, what's coming out of my headphones here. Maybe, there we go, Mike. Now I think it's correct. I was told that things weren't being heard correctly, so we'll find out what's going on here about that. Back here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Let's talk now with Jody Kinney, the statistician from the North Hall football team. Hey, Jody.
Hey, Mike.
Well, I know one thing about it. We didn't expect the season to end the way it did last year, but it also shows you how difficult it is to win a state championship.
Absolutely it is. And, you know, the final score ends up somewhat deceptive. You know, things kind of snowballed as we started chasing the game there. You know, we had that critical turnover with about 3.5 minutes left. You know, we had the ball down 3 with 4 minutes left. I felt like we were in good shape, but we made a couple mistakes there, and when they bumped it out to 10, we started chasing the game there. Then we muffed the ensuing kickoff, and it got it out to 17, and then and it just snowballed from there. And not how we wanted to go out. I don't think we had 4 turnovers in the game all season, and we had it in the last 4 minutes last night. So, but I mean, Great Range. It was a tough game the whole way. Didn't expect it to go out that way, but I'm just so proud of the kids.
Oh, that's what I'm talking with you this morning, because nobody keeps up with stats the way you do. And to talk about really all the superlatives from this team this year, a historic year for North Hall.
Absolutely. In the mix last night, we broke the school record for total offensive yards in the season. That was set by the 2017 that went to the semifinals and did it in 2 less games. So we ended up with over 5,800 yards of offense for the season in 11 games. Which is amazing.
Oh, it is.
Another thing is, unofficial, I got to go check everything because it's going to be close. Schliemann broke yet another record last night for career total offense. As I've always said, anytime you break a TJ Pitts record, you've done something.
Absolutely.
And so he's going to end up right at 4,200 total. TJ up to 4,175, and Schliemann with another year to go is just under 4,200.
Wow.
Of course, Cable, another 100-yard game last night. He ends up, I believe, with about 1,144 yards receiving on the season in 12 games. Just a tick under 100 yards per game. We get another season of him. Ty Kemp was averaging 100 yards receiving when he went out with an injury. Let's see. Wyatt Tillman, the kid no one saw coming. He breaks off that 99-yard touchdown at the beginning of the season for a school record. Justin Allen, who is blocking back. To be honest, we didn't expect him to have 15 carries on the season, much less 15 touchdowns. But when Tumlin got hurt, we needed him to step up, and we found something there. Jack McCloskey stepped in with 4 touchdowns when Ty Kemp got hurt. The Swiss Army knife, Smith McGarvey, throwing for touchdowns, running for touchdowns, catching touchdowns. Really, going from being the starter pretty much all last year to just unselfishly switching roles and just becoming a weapon all over the field for us. That was just enormous for us. The 5 big guys up front. We'll miss all those seniors. McGill and Hendricks and Ham and Weaver, and Hawthorne. We're losing all those. I can't forget the big man, big tight end Dawson Gray had a breakout season, and of course saving one of my favorite players of all time, Parker Carlton. He's not going to walk out with any school records, but he's going to top. I counted up. He is listed in the record book in the top 10, 20, whatever we track for particular stats. I counted his name 31 different occasions, in the record book
Wow.
last week. I mean, he's been a delight to watch. The defensive side, we just so many, right now, of course, Parker, Dalton Hulsey, Buddy Clark at linebackers, and Michael Donatelli, the seniors up front, Jacob Wright, Dawson Reed, the guys in the middle, Hulk and Joker, Robertson and Robbie Lee on the edges, creating havoc, and Walker Davis, Wade Haynes in the back. We're gonna. It was a great senior. And John Millar. We're gonna miss a lot of these guys, and they just did a lot of great things this year.
Think about the point also, Jody, about going back-to-back years with more than 10 wins, or at least, more than 10 wins in a season. Last year 10, this year 11. That's an amazing point right there.
That it is, and it's just it's a testament to the buy-in that community's got with the program has gotten from when Pender came in, and it was a big change for everything. But we're gonna miss the senior class. They're one of the most accomplished senior classes we've ever had. But we're not down on next year. We think the pipeline is pretty full. We got some guys that we're going to be less experienced, obviously, but we expect to be back in the mix again next year. We're not taking next year off. We'll retool things. We'll adjust schemes into our and game plans to fit our new strengths and new weaknesses. And we'll work to shore up our weaknesses. But this has been built to be sustainable. So we're not down next year.
It's a different year this year. Is the schedule set for next year?
Pretty close. Coach Pender said he thought he might have it.
Having him get 5 non-region games is tough,
Yeah. He had a few more things to finalize. He told me Thursday morning he thought he might have it finalized by the end of the day Thursday, but I didn't really ask about it after that. We were in game mode after that.
Sure, absolutely.
But we were talking last night. Last year after LaGrange, we dressed the mannequin in number 15 all year. This off season it's going to be dressed in number 3, because one thing North Hall has never done is won 3 consecutive region championships.
Sure.
So that's the first goal next year. Win a 3rd straight region championship, and then we'll see where we go from there.
All right, buddy. Yeah, always congratulations on a big season this year, because it's really something special to remember for a long, long time, even though it didn't end the way we wanted it to.
It really is, and we said we wanted more for the kids. We thought they deserve more. But just really want, and I'm sure I left some amount speaking off the top of my head. But this senior class as a whole is really just, they were Pender's first freshman class coming in. They bought in. They set the tone for everything, and really laid a new foundation. Building on the success of the past, but at the same time building a new foundation that others can build on to come down the road. And our program's better for them, and love every one of those kids. And hugged as many of them as I could last night. And of course, Mike, can't thank you guys enough for all your coverage and how you promote and love on the kids as well in your way. So we really appreciate the support of your radio station and you and Joe and whoever you have, Harper when he's there, and so thank you so much for your support of North Hall football this year.
I appreciate it, buddy. It means a lot to us. So have a great week, and I know it's going to be a busy one for a lot of people. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk soon, okay?
All right, thank you, Mike. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate it, buddy. That is Jody Kinney, the greatest statistician around when it comes to keep up with high school sports here on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, we're going to try to talk with Coach Josh Niblett. Just got a text message from the Georgia High School Association about last night's game with Brunswick and Gainesville. Stay tuned. We got much more for you coming up next. You're tuned to the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM with live video stream on our YouTube channel at Team Glory Sports.
It's kickoff time, Gainesville, and Hardy Chevrolet has the winning lineup you've been waiting for. From rugged Silverados to family-ready SUVs, our inventory is stacked for every game. And customer service, it's always first string. Visit Hardy Chevrolet at 2115 Brownsbridge Road, Gainesville, Georgia. Hardy Chevrolet, where you're always part of the hometown team. Together, let's drive.
Siphon Logistics' commitment is to provide you, the customer, with on-time pickup and delivery every time. Members of the Siphon family have been in the transportation business since 1984. The Siphon Logistics transportation professionals are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, providing maximum flexibility and options to produce the most successful shipping arrangements. Call Siphon Logistics at 770-287-8485 and take a look at their website at siphonlogistics.com.
Hey folks, this is Jeff Dale. Wanted to welcome you to Friday Night Football in North Georgia. The game is on tonight. I wanted you to know I'm in the game with an HVAC business called Optimum Mechanical. We specialize in residential and commercial HVAC. Service, replacement, new construction. Let us help you on your next project. Optimum Mechanical, 678-780-7251.
Ever feel like your house is just missing a little something? Custom window treatments can go a long way to making your house feel like a home. Call Millie's Drapery and Decorating today for the best in custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. We can schedule for one of our designers to come out to your home, take measurements, and give you an estimate right there on site. That's Millie's Drapery and Decorating, 1732 Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, or give us a call at 770-532-3819.
And back on the Saturday Morning Sports Show here from Millie's Drapery and Decorating, that reminds me that back on Tuesday we brought you our first high school basketball broadcast of the season with a great doubleheader between North Hall and East Hall. What a great rivalry between those two teams dating back to the late 1950s. And it was like a playoff game back on Tuesday with the North Hall boys pulling up a 1-point victory over Joe Dix's East Hall Vikings, 60-59. A great game for Gunnar Spain, who scored 30 points. Carter Causey in his first game for North Hall, he scores 15 points. The Trojans winning by 1 point. And I heard from Coach Joe Dix talking about it was still difficult for the East Hall fans with North Hall with a 1-point victory there. And then that, I still remember, and will always remember that game during the regular season that went to 2 o'clock in the morning with the North Hall football team scoring that last play, the last touchdown to defeat East Hall this year. So we'll have the Vikings and the Trojans on the air. Our next high school basketball broadcast comes up a week from Tuesday on December the 2nd from Seth Vining Gym at East Hall right here on 97.5 Glory FM. As Joe Gailey and I'll be with you every Tuesday and Friday now that high school football is over for us. Every Friday night you'll hear high school football during the regular season, and our next broadcast comes up on December the 2nd. High school basketball in the Thanksgiving tournaments coming up this weekend. North Hall and East Hall both involved in a tournament down in Athens at Cedar Shoals High School, playing today and on Monday. The annual Jackson EMC tournament taking place over in Jefferson today, Monday, and Tuesday. And also other teams around the area playing in different events across the North Georgia area. Also, I did get the text message from the Georgia High School Association. I was able to get, during the break, tried to call them, tried to call Coach Josh Niblett of Gainesville. No luck on either one of those trying to reach those people. But Marvin James, who is the communications director for the Georgia High School Association, he works with the media, and I work with him getting contracts for our broadcasts of high school sports. He let me know that they being the GHSA, have not gotten the final report from the executive director about what happened last night from the game officials. The big question that I have right now is about last night's game. What will happen when it comes to the punishments, the penalties with the players who left the sidelines last night and got involved in the fight with Brunswick, and with the game being stopped at that point. And let's say Gainesville does get that victory last night over Brunswick 42-0. So what happens next if they go by the letter of the law, as we say, from what the GHSA Constitution bylaws state, is that all the players that were involved in the fight last night probably would be ejected from that game last night, which means they'd have to sit out one game, and Gainesville would not have enough players to play in the quarterfinal round of the Class 5A state playoffs coming up next Friday. And on top of that, with Thanksgiving Day on Thursday, and with still having to wait on the GHSA to decide what will Coach Johnson and Gainesville be doing. You got to prepare for a game next week, and the clock is ticking. Are you going to play or not? And then getting ready for that game coming up on Friday, to me, is a big question mark right now when it comes to the future of this season continuing. And you see, when it comes to how things work out, we've had two number 2 seeds in the different classifications eliminated so far in the first 2 rounds of the state playoffs. Last night, Rabun County defeated Berrien in the Class A Division I playoffs up in Tiger. Earlier last week, it was Berrien upsetting the number 2 seed Lamar County team in the Class A Division I playoffs. Last night, North Hall, the number 2 seed overall in the state playoffs in Class AAA, they were upset, you could say, by LaGrange, which was a much better team than a 15 seed. And this is going to be the big question coming up next year when it comes to the Georgia High School Association state playoffs next year. The way it's said right now is that only the region champions, the top 8 region champions, would get home field advantage. And we're not sure right now where their seeds will be. I still haven't got that completely explained to me about where they would be, but they would at least be in the playoffs and would be playing at home according to how their power rankings are next year. But then everybody else, you have to use your power rankings. So you could be, let's say, a number 3 seed in your region and not even make the state playoffs. And that's going to be very interesting to see, especially when it comes to scheduling. A lot of coaches have had, and athletic directors and administrators have had a lot of difficulty trying to understand the new rules about how to schedule the best thing for their teams for the upcoming years, not only in football, but all the other sports also when it comes to following high school sports here on 97.5 Glory FM. Just talking with Jody Kenny there from North Hall. One of the things, I was talking to a friend last night who's been in administration for me, he said, okay, one of the things that should not have happened is that Hall County once again being split into 2 different regions. Well, you can say, yeah, but we have more teams that would go into the state playoffs, but at the same time, you go back, it'd be nice to have the 6 Hall County schools playing in the same region. Count at 7, if they could have, really 8 could have gotten the appeals from Johnson and Flyer Branch to play probably in a much more equitable, a better region for them in the upcoming 2 years. So you want to take politics out of high school sports and do what's best for the young people in the schools here in the area. Next year in Class AAA, it's going up a change of the letters. Next year it'll be 4A for the local teams here in Hall County. And in Region 6 Quad A, you'll have North Hall, Chestatee involved in that one. And the other schools will be in Region 8 Quad A, and that will be Cherokee Bluff, West Hall, and East Hall involved in that one. And then you have 2 other teams in the county with Flyer Branch and Johnson playing up in Class 5A next year. And it's going to be really interesting to see how that works in my mind, which is amazing. I think I got all that right from that standpoint, because everything's moving up a letter, whereas the GHSA in their infinite wisdom had Class A split into a Division I and Division II. Thankfully, that's over. And Division II becomes Class A, Division II becomes Class AA, and then the current Class AA becomes AAA, the current Class AAA becomes Quad A. It goes all the way back up to a Class 7 next year, which Beaufort will be involved along with the Forsyth County schools. Get this, Forsyth County's going to have their own region next year. And I love that from the standpoint of rivalries between all the schools there in Forsyth County. And you have 6 schools there in Class 7A there in Forsyth County. They all play each other, and then they'll have their non-region games they'll play in all the different sports. It'll be very interesting to see what happens when it comes to that. If you did not know, Gainesville High had their appeal changed from one region to the next. They're going to play in Region 8 Quinte next year, 8-5A, and that's going to be, I keep saying that, it's going to be 6A, be a Region 8 6A next year for the Elephants. And they're going to be in a region with Jackson County and with Habersham Central, with Clark Central, with Cedar Shoals, with Walnut Grove, Loganville, Mountain View also had their appeal moved into that region. So they're going to have, I think, 9 teams in that region. So Gainesville football will only have 2 teams to find on their schedule for the 2026 and 2027 high school football season. Then we get ready for the other sports. Right now we got to change gears for us looking ahead to basketball as we get ready to bring you high school hoop action a week from Tuesday. We will take Thanksgiving week off. I had originally scheduled to have a game on Tuesday with Cherokee Bluff playing they're playing Lambert over in Forsyth County. They're going to be at Cherokee Bluff, but they are going to play in the afternoon. And we've got college basketball for you on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll talk with Dave Cohen about, as it will be Georgia State playing in Cancun, Mexico on Tuesday and Wednesday, starting at 3 o'clock. The tip-off of the games with Coach Jonas Hayes' team will start things off at 2:45. Will be the network affiliate. It will be the flagship for the network coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday. On Tuesday, the Panthers will go up against Sanford, and then on Wednesday they'll play New Mexico State. And then we'll bring you college football action on Friday. We're so excited to bring you this one, a special sports exclusive on Friday, as it will be Georgia and Georgia Tech, only here in Gainesville and Hall County on 97.5 Glory FM, as you'll get a chance to hear the game. Also online, we're streaming it on our website, WGTJradio.com. We're also streaming it on the TuneIn Radio app, Simple Radio app, the Radio Garden app. At home in your Amazon Echo, you can hear it by saying play 97.5 Glory FM, or to avoid those annoying tuning ads, as I say enable the skill 97.5 Glory FM on your Amazon Echo device, and you'll get a chance to hear the very best going up on Friday with Georgia and Georgia Tech, starting with a pregame show at 3. Kickoff will be at 3:30 p.m. only on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, we'll try to talk with Harper LaBelle about what's going on with the college football games today, and also about NFL football. Up next on the Saturday Morning Sports Show, online on our YouTube channel with a video stream at Team Glory Sports.
Here I am on the road again, ready to pick up the kids from school, go by the grocery store, and do all the things a busy mother does. It's because I just left North Hall Tire and Wheel, where they made sure I was ready to go. They put on a fresh set of tires, checked the brakes, and even the battery. I know I can trust Mike and Matt and the guys at North Hall Tire and Wheel. They have everything you need, all the name brand tires at the best prices, and the service you need. They're on Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, so give them a call at 770-297-5308.
EMC Security.
Hey, it's Coach Mark Richt here. Everyone knows defense wins championships. And if you're not using EMC Security to defend your home and family, you need to step up your game. With EMC Security's no contract and local service, they are a clear number one. So give them a call or visit them online at emcsecurity.com. That's emcsecurity.com.
EMC Security. Smart protection for a safer tomorrow.
The experts are saying that it's going to be another tough year for the flu. Last year it started in October and lasted until May. It's never too early to get your flu shot, and you can stop by Riverside Pharmacy and get yours today. The pharmacists at Riverside Pharmacy can not only give you your flu shot, but if you get the flu, they can fill your prescription. They'll even deliver them in the Gainesville area. You can depend on Riverside Pharmacy across the street from City Park, serving Gainesville for over 60 years.
This is Representative Lee Hawkins, your representative to the state legislature. I want to wish all the local athletes in our area the very best this season. Your team is very important to the success of our community, and I look forward to seeing you play this year and to see what you accomplish in the classrooms and in the community. I also look forward to serving you and your family in the state legislature. This message paid for by the committee to re-elect Lee Hawkins.
It is 9:40, 20 minutes until 10 o'clock. It's Eastern time. It's Central time. It's an hour earlier. It is 8:40, and coming up on 20 minutes before 9 o'clock. So I'm giving two guys wake-up call this morning. Dave Cohen and Harper LaBelle are in Montgomery, Alabama.
Hey, Harper.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Oh, you're just wide-eyed this morning, aren't you, sir?
I can barely hear you. I'm sorry.
How about that now? So you're wide-eyed this morning, aren't you?
There you go. Plugged in. Now I'm plugged in.
I thought I was waking you up this morning.
We're completely connected.
All right.
Good to be with you.
Very good. So how's the trip to Montgomery?
It was smooth. It was only half as long as it took to get to coastal Carolina and Myrtle Beach and Conway, so I didn't know what to do with all that extra time that we had.
I'm sure Dave could fill it up for you, no doubt about that. So we get ready for the next to last college football game of the season today for us with Troy taking on Georgia State. But also we got a full day for fans who will just like college football. Kick things off with Georgia and Charlotte. Then it's State and Troy, followed by Tech and Pitt. So a lot of good football today.
A lot of busy games. Last week to me, Mike, was the really important elimination week. You win there. Georgia and Texas, for example, you can still brag about being a part of the playoff in the process. Texas cannot. They end up losing. So it was move on Saturday. This is more of a preparation week for rivalry, and for obvious reasons, there's going to be some cupcake matchups, in my opinion. You know, that's the term that a lot of people will put on it. There are many games for the smaller schools, but for the bigger ones, it's basically getting yourself ready for the most important game of the year, which is the last one, to see whether or not you're still eligible and to beat up on your old enemies, your foes, and your rivals.
So how's Colorado State?
Yeah. Well, we've had a rough year, Mike. I'm in a couple of different text strings with some buddies, and we've already fired the coach, and there's a lot of moving on to be done. And a lot of schools are doing that. You know, there's several that have already made their coaching changes, and I even was kind of teasing with Dave and with Rick last night about Lane Kiffin will make an announcement after the Mississippi State game. I don't know why he would need to make an announcement unless there's some changes in the plans. If he's good to go and going to stay, then I don't know why they need to make an announcement for that. So they're very interesting perspectives to fill all these openings.
It's like, here's the announcement. Harper Bell and Dave Conner staying at Georgia State. You know, it's just, okay, great. We appreciate that. You know, and so Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss. We'll see if that happens. But it's like, okay, how much money can the man make, I guess, is the next big question. And with that, I want to talk with you about pro football, because a lot going on this week when it comes to money, and nobody knows the cap in my mind like you do, buddy. And so the big question about the Atlanta Falcons, who is like, okay, they're playing New Orleans tomorrow, and that's one of those, we some people call them the Falcons, and of course you remember what was the Aints from back in the day. Both teams really struggling right now, but almost more importantly, they're struggling financially to be able to field a team the way they need to be competitive in the upcoming couple of years.
I used to put it this way: when the Dallas Cowboys had Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, some guy named Deion Sanders that we all knew here in Atlanta, Charles Haley, and maybe you could throw in Jay Novacek. They had over 50% of their cap in just those six guys. And it made no sense. And some of the other guys that were on the team didn't make anything more than league minimum back those days. They mismanaged the money, in my opinion. And they struggled for years to offset the cap problem that they created by paying just 5 or 6 guys and leaving the other ones in a lower than expected average. You look at New England and what they did. They paid people average, just about. And they were a dynasty for 15 or close to 20 years. They were relevant during all of that. And part of the reason that we signed Thomas Dimitroff here in Atlanta is because we wanted to manage the cap in a way that we could get good players. You pay them a little bit above what the norm would be, and the results should speak for themselves. And that backfired. So, yes, in terms of managing the cap, the $1 that you get, the $1 that the New Orleans Saints gets, the $1 that Kansas City gets, and how you spend that and doing so wisely, that's a challenge for each and every organization, Mike.
So with that, with Michael Penix being out for the season, and then I would think questionable for even next year, is it okay? And with the contract that Kirk Cousins has, is it even financially feasible to keep Kirk Cousins? Then what do the Falcons do about a quarterback?
Yeah, the hole that the Falcons had 2 years ago, where they didn't have a quarterback in the room that they felt comfortable with, and then going out and getting the first-round draft pick after spending a record amount of money to bring in a free agent. And to me, Mike, and I said this before, so for your guests, I don't want to repeat myself in a way that I'm boasting or anything, but they went from having the worst quarterback room in the league to considering they had one of the best.
Sure.
In just one signing, and bringing in a new coach, and here we are, folks. We have a lot of holes, but we solved one of them. No, they didn't. Injury, and obviously how you're going to manage Kurt's number. He's there for 4 years, and this is year 2 of that. So if you want to keep him, it can be done. But I mean, it already has been done. So whether or not you want to keep him or another coach, and that's a possibility too, Mike. In a day or in a week, at the end of the year, are they going to stay with the same crew? A lot of problems right now, but winning solves everything, is what Chuck Knox said to me when I was a rookie. My first year in the league in 1989. It doesn't solve cancer. It doesn't, alleviate the U.S. national debt, but it sure makes it a lot easier to solve those problems. And when you're not winning, they only get magnified.
Always talking with Harper Bell and Dave Cohen in the second half of our show on the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.5 Glory FM. I'm not going to say I'm criticizing Arthur Blank at all. The man's a multi-millionaire, successful as can be, and you got to admire all that he has done in his life. But I compare it to Ted Turner when he had the Atlanta Braves. And Ted Turner finally decided, as successful he was as a businessman, that he didn't know sports the way he thought he did. And he stepped aside and he hired people that knew the baseball business, and you saw the change in the Atlanta Braves almost immediately. Wouldn't you think that Arthur Blank would do almost the same thing with the Falcons? A step away, let's go ahead and basically clean house almost, bring in somebody who knows football like we're not doing right now, and really sees that we can build something here with the Atlanta Falcons.
So I'm going to say with that, John Scherholtz was probably the architect that you're referring to that really understood and knew baseball in a way that for the next 14 years they were relevant, they were winning the division, and you gave the team and the city a chance. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you're looking to strike the iron hot and make a similar move. I can both praise and criticize some of the moves that have been done here. We've had 2 Super Bowl appearances in the team's history. We lost them both, and we're behind, in my opinion, from where we should be compared to some of the other teams.
Sure.
We're not consistent. I know there are Pittsburgh Steelers fans that go, gosh, we make it to the playoffs, but we lose in the first round, and we get a 24th pick every year, and that's not we don't like that. We almost would rather you tank so we can get a top 10 guy. Well, I don't think you would. I think we're always relevant.
Sure.
We're the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're different. We're the San Francisco 49ers. We're different. Over the last 20 years, we're Kansas City. We're different, and Atlanta is not consistent. That's the issue. So it's a great business question to ask. And it should be asked, and I'm sure they ask all the time. But you know what? The guys that are in the office that are wearing coats and ties every day, they're not going to step down. So I find it very interesting how that question gets resolved without major changes that I'm sure the board wouldn't approve of, because that would mean that they are probably going to be replaced, and who would want to do that? So it's a very interesting question, Mike.
And it's not going to affect the bottom line. We know that. And that's going to be the thing, is by, okay.
Well, hold on, Mike. Hold on. I'm going to disagree with that, and not to be, argumentative. But the bottom line is you've got a full stadium, and people are waiting to get in, and you don't have that right now.
No.
So I think I'm open to listening to that. Go ahead.
Like you said, no wrong answer on that one, buddy, at all. But so I think from Arthur Blank's bottom line, it doesn't really matter for him. For us, from the standpoint of what the Falcons do again with this cap. Yeah, it's definitely affected the bottom line, because you got to have a relative team out there in the field.
Yeah, and let me clarify something with you. What I think you're saying is it's not going to affect the bottom line. Is the ownership is going to split the revenue that the league makes equally into 33 different parts every year. It doesn't matter, right? That's what I think you're saying is that they're still going to make whatever the cap is, and you can't make more because you can't do it. Even if you do something individually, it gets divided into 33. There are 32 teams, and the league takes one equal share as well. So that's how they pay for everything with Goodell's salary all the way to the Super Bowl decorations. They are all paid for by the league. And that's where they generate their money, the 33rd slice of that revenue dollar. And yes, I agree with you from a business perspective. There's not a whole lot that can change. But individually, remember Tom Benson used to run around with that stupid umbrella after every win, and they play the music and all that kind of stuff. But people loved it because my team was winning. And when Drew Brees was doing all those things and Sean Payton was tearing the Falcons apart every week when they play each other, it was good times.
Hey, think about the state of quarterbacks right now. It's a mess hitting right now. Think about New York with the Giants, the Jets. You mentioned Pittsburgh. What's going on with them? And with injuries can really affect a football team immediately. Yeah.
I have wondered, about 5 years ago, there was Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, Roethlisberger, Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Favre was still in the league. There were a lot of these drop-back quarterbacks that were all getting a little bit older and soon would be replaced with what? With a college kid that rolls out and throws off his back foot and does some things that are completely unique and different. And so the league is changing before our very eyes. Those guys, with the exception of Aaron Rodgers, they're all gone. And they're not coming back because from a high school level all the way up to a senior in college, they're not making them the same way. They're different. They're more athletic, but they're also incredibly fragile, it seems, in a different way. And it's changing the offenses in the game.
Yep, no doubt about that. All right, so we'll talk more about football in a moment. We're going to talk with Dave Cohen, and maybe Harper could also chime in about today's football game with Georgia State and Troy. Coming up next here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM, your radio station for North Georgia sports.
Whether it's on the football field or planning for retirement, it's important to have the right team around you to succeed. I'm Alex Sherman, quarterback for the North Hall Trojans. While I'm not throwing touchdowns, my family is assisting clients with their financial planning needs. Are you looking to retire soon, receiving an inheritance, selling a business, or simply have questions about the market? The team at Sullivan & Schlimming Wealth Management is here to help. Reach out to us to make sure you and your family are surrounded by a winning team. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA and SIPC.
All right, we changed phones now. Dave Cohen, who's in the, I guess, eating breakfast, right now with Harper Bell. Hey, David.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Great. So what's your breakfast?
Don't know yet.
So, what time's checkout time then, okay?
So remember, we're an hour earlier than you are over here in Montgomery this morning.
That's why I woke you up from that standpoint, Dave. Hey, good to talk with you. So I know you're excited about today's ballgame, but you're looking for a W so bad, aren't you?
Well, not only the radio crew, but the rest of the program is. And, just like with Marshall last week, Thundering Herd had come into Atlanta riding a 2-game losing streak, and Troy is in the same situation, fighting, for that top spot behind Southern Miss and Arkansas State in the Sun Belt West. But they've lost 2 in a row. They've lost Arkansas State, in their most recent outing, and lost to Southern Miss. So, they're in a similar situation, trying to get back on the winning track, and they see Georgia State coming at 1-9, and their eyes get pretty big.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And the big question, I heard you talking with Coach Dale McGee, the big thing's got to be Cam Brown's back.
Yep, another change at quarterback, and I think that as long as he stays healthy for the final 2 games, Cameron Brown will be your starting quarterback. He missed the game against Marshall last week due to injury, and then the second half 2 weeks ago at Coastal Carolina. But it's good to have him back. Again, he brings an element that T.J. Finley and even Christian Thayer, when we saw him back in week 1 at Ole Miss, doesn't really bring to the field, and that's the ability to run with the football. And Cameron Brown, again, very reminiscent of the 3 years we had Darren Granger to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
It just brings another option, when things start to break down, Mike, regarding that offensive line, which has happened on more than one occasion. It's nice to know your quarterback has the wheels to be able to create something out of nothing.
What would be really nice, though, Dave, is the defense can stop somebody. What kind of attack does Troy have?
Very similar. Tucker Kilcrease has taken over at quarterback, and I'm not saying he's as good as Samari Collier was a couple of weeks ago, but he's able to move the offense up and down the field. They've got two pretty good running backs with regards to the number of carries. It'll be very similar to what we've seen, but fortunately, or unfortunately, I should say, there's a number of defensive linemen that are still injured and not available for this week. So, as Coach McGee has said, as you've heard in some of the weekly reports that we do on the station, very much that next man up mentality. I mean, some of these younger guys who came in and maybe didn't expect to play quite as much, quite as many snaps, even this late in the season, some guys getting pressed into duty, which hopefully they come in and play well, Mike, and they learn and, they catch up with the speed of the game.
Yes.
But, you hope that if they stay at the end of the season, that what they're doing is getting valuable experience when they head into the off season, and then, summer workouts and fall camp, and then, before you know it, next season will be here. But now you've got some guys who played this year and got some valuable experience maybe that they weren't expecting to get.
Well, of course, the question for all fans is, who's going to stay? And nobody's going to know till after the season's over and when that period opens up and who's going to be transferring to the portal and going. That's what changed everything with college football.
Right, and remember, we came into this season, we had just right around 70 new players.
Yes.
And it's hard to really build any, football consistency when there's just so much transactional movement on your roster.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about that. So nobody lives out of a suitcase like I know, like Dave Cohen. His schedule this week, he's in Troy, Alabama, now spending the night in Montgomery, getting ready to go to Troy today. And then Dave gets ready to hit a plane to go to Mexico for basketball on Tuesday and Wednesday with us, and then heads back home for Thanksgiving, and then gets on a plane, I'm assuming going to Norfolk, Virginia for next Saturday's final football game of the year with Old Dominion. And so it's going to be a busy week for you, buddy.
Yep, this is the crossover part of the season, and, you can't be everywhere. Basketball was actually up in Brookings, South Dakota last night. It did not go well.
No, it didn't for the Jackrabbits, did it?
No, and I hated that I missed the trip because I've never been in the state of South Dakota, but, on the positive end, I got to hang out with Rick and Harper and Charlie from the Georgia State staff, and we hit Winsel's right here in downtown Montgomery and had a great shrimp boil. So I'm keeping up with the basketball score, Mike, in downtown Montgomery while eating a shrimp boil.
All right, so last night the Panthers lose to the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State 105-58. That scares me, buddy, because we now are playing the Sanford Bulldogs coming up on Tuesday. Tip off at 3. We'll have the broadcast right here on the network at 2:45 coming up on Tuesday. But the big thing is, look at W today, okay? Let's see if we beat the Trojans of Troy, and then we can have the things will be a lot better for Thanksgiving.
No question about it. This program needs a win. It would be great to get one here today against the struggling Trojans.
All right, Dave. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you this afternoon, okay? Have a great broadcast.
All right, Mike. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Harper. That is a Saturday morning sports show here on 97.5 Glory FM. Up next, it's the latest world and national news from SRN. And then we bring you the gospel greats with Rodney Bauckham. And we've got college football today, starting at 3:30 with the Panther pregame show. The kickoff will be at 4 p.m. only here on 97.5 Glory FM.